Some people go their whole lives with the feeling that they're in the wrong place, doing something they weren't meant to do. Wake up, work, repeat. But deep down, there's a void that no amount of success can fill. Ever wondered why? Maybe the answer is simple and brutal. You forgot your soul's plan. Yes, there is a plan. And more than that, you wrote it before you were born. But the system taught you that your purpose was to pay bills and follow rules. They told you that life was just that, and you believed it. But what if I told you that there's something inside you that's always known that wasn't true? The soul sends signals, but you ignore them, call them coincidences, pretend you don't feel them. The déjà vu, the inner voice, the repeating numbers, the encounter that changes everything. These aren't random, they're reminders. And the more you ignore them, the louder they become. If you're here right now, watching this, maybe your soul is urgently trying to remind you. This video isn't just another piece of spiritual content, it's a reunion, a calling, a key. And the truth is simple. Either you awaken now, or you keep living a script you didn't even write. If you've ever felt like there's something more to your life, even if you could never explain exactly what, then stay with me. Because what I'm about to show you could completely change the way you see your existence. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you'll finally understand why everything happened the way it did. And more than that, you'll know exactly what to do next. The soul doesn't forget by accident. It forgets by design. Before you came here, to this exact point in the timeline, you knew what you came to do. But when you were born, you crossed an invisible veil, like diving into a deep ocean where the light of memory can't quite reach. This spiritual forgetfulness is like a cosmic game of hide and seek, where the mission isn't to remember with your mind, but with your heart. And that's why so many live with a lingering emptiness, even when their life seems in order, because they're trying to fill with matter what only the soul's plan can complete. This sacred amnesia is real, and it's necessary. Imagine playing a game where you already knew all the answers. What would be the point? The soul chooses to forget so you can have truly authentic experiences. It's contrast that gives awakening its value. And this forgetting isn't punishment, it's a tool. Every pain, every loss, every new beginning, they're all mechanisms designed to reactivate the soul's signals, those invisible nudges that whisper, "Remember why you came here." Like waking from a dream, little by little. Some people feel this call through unexpected moments of clarity, a conversation that seems tailor-made, a book that falls into your lap and shifts everything, or a wave of longing for something you've never lived. That's not random. That's your soul's plan trying to break through. And if you're hearing this now, maybe this is one of those moments, because every remembering begins as a whisper. But if you don't listen, the soul begins to shout. And in that silent scream, the first sign is born, which leads us directly to what comes next. You know that déjà vu that stops you in your tracks and makes you think, "I've lived this before." Or that number that keeps showing up everywhere, like 1111 staring at you from the clock, a license plate, even your bank receipt. That's not a coincidence. Those are soul signals, knocking at your consciousness and saying, "Hey, something bigger is going on here." These moments, small as they may seem, are encoded messages. And the most curious part, the more you ignore them, the stronger they become. The soul becomes urgent when it sees you're ready, but distracted. Many people expect the soul to speak like in a Hollywood movie, with celestial trumpets or slow-motion revelations. But in truth, soul signs are subtle, like a breeze. They can come in a recurring dream, a song that randomly plays with lyrics that feel exactly right for that moment, or in a chance meeting with someone who completely shifts your path. Ever met someone and thought, "It feels like I've known you forever"? Maybe you have. Because the souls that are part of your spiritual contract always return. And this isn't fantasy, it's divine architecture. If you're feeling a calling, a restlessness, a strange urge to change everything, even if you don't know why, that's already a sign. The soul doesn't speak the language of logic. It speaks through vibration, synchronicity that shiver down your spine. And when you start paying attention, something magical happens. Your soul's plan begins to rise from the shadows of forgetfulness. But that's just the beginning. Because recognizing the signs is only step one. The real question now is, what did you agree to before coming here? Because everything you're living was already arranged. Before slipping into this body and arriving on this planet, your soul didn't come empty-handed. It came with a blueprint, a soul plan written with wisdom, where every challenge, every love, every fall, and every rebirth was already part of the story. This spiritual contract isn't a cage, it's a map, a set of choices made by you with expanded consciousness before you even had a name. You chose where to be born, to what family, with what potentials and lessons. Not because life would be easy, but because you were strong enough to grow through it. And here's the curious part, even the delays were perfectly timed. These contracts are sacred agreements. Ever heard someone say, that person changed my life, even though we're no longer together? That soul may have been placed in your path to activate something within you. Courage, boundaries, healing, forgiveness. And this applies to everything. Parents who challenge you deeply, jobs that felt like hell but taught you resilience, even illnesses that sparked a desire to live more consciously. All of that may have been signed long ago, with love and deep intention. The wildest part? Most people have no idea they're living out this soul plan. They live on autopilot, thinking life is just happening to them. But the truth is, you're not lost. You're remembering, and remembering brings power. When you accept that part of what you're experiencing was chosen by a wiser version of you, everything shifts. Because that's when the next, and perhaps most important, step begins. How to realign your life with what your soul actually came here to do. Realigning with your soul doesn't mean you have to drop everything and move to a temple in the mountains. Although, let's be honest, a retreat now and then wouldn't hurt. True reconnection begins with the small choices you make every day. Listening to what expands you and silencing what drains you. It starts when you stop trying to please everyone and start choosing yourself. A simple practice? Try meditating with your focus on the center of your chest. Take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart and ask, what does my soul need me to hear today? You'd be surprised by the answer that comes in silence. The soul speaks louder when you live with presence. And presence is cultivated. Maybe it's writing down the ideas that come to you when you first wake up, walking barefoot, looking up at the sky, practicing gratitude, not the automatic thanks for everything, but feeling it for real. And if you want to go deeper, start an intuitive journal. Write down what you feel, what you dream, and the signs your soul sends your way. Over time, you'll start to see a pattern. And guess what? That pattern is your soul's plan revealing itself. That's when real alignment begins, when you stop chasing what the ego wants and start walking with what the soul needs. And that doesn't mean abandoning your dreams. It means refining them so they resonate with who you truly are. Because when you act from the heart, the right doors open, the right people show up, and synchronicities become the norm. But here's the catch. Living your soul's plan isn't about remembering it intellectually. It's about living in alignment. And when that happens, the universe responds in ways you can't even imagine. When someone starts living their soul's plan, the outside world stops feeling like a battlefield and becomes a sacred playing field. Things start to make sense. And no, it's not because everything becomes perfect, but because even the challenges begin to feel purposeful. It's like swapping out a foggy lens for one in high definition. You begin to see the synchronicities, feel when something is right, know when it's time to let go. Time stops feeling like a cage and becomes an ally. And what once felt confusing is now experienced with presence and clarity. This shift brings a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. You might still have the same job, live in the same neighborhood with the same bills to pay, but on the inside, everything has changed. Because now, you know why you're where you are. Relationships transform. Decisions flow. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. But you know it's not out of nowhere. It's the echo of your spiritual contract vibrating louder and calling in what needs to arrive. And when you live like this, it's impossible not to feel gratitude. Not the kind you post about, but the kind that makes you cry alone in the dark, just because you're alive and aware. And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, ask someone who's awakened. Ask the person who left a path that no longer made sense, even with fear in their heart, and now says, "I've never felt more like myself." That's the side effect of realigning with your soul. You find yourself. And when that happens, life finds you too. But that meeting doesn't happen by magic. It takes action, choices, and courage. So tell me, if your soul is screaming right now, are you still going to ignore it? Or are you finally going to remember who you are and why you came here? Now that you understand the signs of the soul, the spiritual contracts, and how to realign with the plan you wrote before you were born, the question is, what are you going to do with all of this? Will you let this become just another video you watched? Or will you use it as a turning point because the soul has already done its part? It brought you here. It gave you the nudges. It handed you the map. Now it's on you. Will you ignore it, or will you allow yourself to truly remember? What will you start doing today? Will you begin your intuitive journaling? Meditate for 5 minutes a day in total silence. Pay closer attention to the signs from your soul. Let me know in the comments what part of this message gave you chills. What part of your soul's plan feels like it's screaming the loudest right now? And most importantly, what are you going to do about it? Because awakening only begins when you choose to take action. If this message stirred something inside you, if your heart beat faster or your eyes welled up, don't let that moment pass. Subscribe to the channel right now, hit the bell icon, because here we don't just talk about spirituality, we live it. And I want to keep walking with you on this journey, because remembering who you are changes everything.